Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be how I like to make my penne pasta with sausage and kale. Right now I'm just going through my refrigerator and grabbing the ingredients that I need. I grabbed some Polish sausage and I'm going to grab my organic kale. Next I'm grabbing the cheese I need, Parmigiano Reggiano, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. Here's my variety of pasta. I have several different kinds, but for this recipe we are going to go with the penne over here on the end. I will also grab my garlic. I need 1 onion, a can of petite diced tomatoes, and I'm going to use salt, pepper, and Lowry seasoning. The first step is easy. You're just going to want to fill your pan with water enough to cover your pasta. And I always season it with salt, and you can be generous with the salt. If you watch my videos, you know I love cooking with my cast iron pan anytime that I can. So I just turn the heat on and I'm going to coat the pan with some olive oil. To start, we'll cut the ends of the sausage off. This is where the casing was left. And I like to cut the sausage in diagonal cuts like this. And you could cook the sausage in its whole form, but I like to cut it first because I like to make sure I can get a nice crispy outside crunch, if you will, on the sausage. I'm using 2 whole garlic cloves, and yes, this time I'm using fresh garlic. I just trim the ends off again and just mince it up very fine. There are several ways you can cut an onion, but when I'm cooking onion in a pasta dish, I like to cut it into long slices instead of mincing it. So I just cut it in half, and I'm only using half an onion, and I just go along the entire onion like this in long slices. I'm using roughly 12 to 16 ounces of pasta. The oil is now hot enough to add the meat. I'm going to cook it for a few minutes until it has a nice golden brown crust. I'll also add the seasonings right after I put the meat into the pan. I'm going to cook the sausage by itself for about 4 to 5 minutes until it has a nice golden crust to it, and as you can see, it already does. So the next step is to add the onion, and I will cook it for a few minutes longer until the onion is a little bit transparent and more tender to the touch. In about 2 minutes, so now I add the garlic, and the reason I didn't put the garlic in right away is because it cooks a lot faster and I did not want the garlic to burn. So now that the garlic is in, I will cook it for an additional 2 minutes or so. There's a few reasons why I like to save the pasta water. Number one, it has a lot more flavor than just regular water. And also, if you need to add some moisture back into your dish, I would recommend using the pasta water that you've saved. My next step is to add the kale. Now, if you don't like kale, you could use mustard greens, you could use spinach, collard greens, Swiss chard, really anything that you want. But I really like the flavor of kale, and I just add a couple handfuls. It's going to wilt down very quickly, and it's going to seem like there's not enough in there, so I just add a little bit at a time. Once you add all of your kale or whatever greens you choose, it should take maybe less than 5 minutes to cook. Well, at least for the kale it did, so just eyeball it. But I am adding some more kale because it did cook down so quickly and I noticed I needed a bit more. We are almost finished. I'm adding my can of petite diced tomatoes that I did drain the water from. Just mix it very well like this. I let that cook for about a minute, and my next step is to add my pasta. And of course, you want to make sure to stir well. You want to make sure all the ingredients are incorporated evenly. This is the part where I add the water that I saved earlier from the pasta. I want to make sure there's enough moisture in there, so I use the entire measuring cup, and I believe that was a 1/4 cup. Now I'm grating the cheese on, which is one of my favorite parts. And honestly, you can use however much or however little as you want. This is completely up to you, but this is the final step. And that is all I do to create this dish. It turned out great. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know if you do. Please thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.